guys, what's up? And I forgot to do an intro shot, so we'll just set up and get started. So I'm drawing a black box for my title, which is going to be March, and I'm coloring that in with a Tombow brush pen, and it is running out of ink, so it might take some time to do it, but we'll talk about the spread while I do it. So this spread is super simple, and it's perfect for any avid doodler because we're just going to be drawing spheres, one-colored spheres. And if you're a doodler, you'll know that people who doodle in class just draw spheres or eyes for some reason, probably because it's just easy. But I'm going in with my white jelly roll to make March, or to write March, and I'm going in there with a couple layers, and let's get started on the design. So this month's design is basically just spheres, as I said earlier, and it's basically one-colored, so that's even easier. So with every one color pencil, you're just gonna draw the outline of your circle and press harder on the darker spots and then fade out, which means press lighter. So as you get to the lighter spot of your circle, then you release pressure. And you're just going to do that for all your circles, and that should be pretty easy because it's just one color. And I'm using white to add the highlights because it acts as a replacement for a colorless blender if you don't have it. And white is always a savior because it always smooths out all the rough edges, and it always makes it look nice and adds a highlight, which is plus. But for the darker color, I wanted to help it blend to the lighter color, so I used a 20% French gray. And on the top right, you can see a post-it note with all the colors that I have used, but I will also put that in the link in the in the description below. And as you can see, I'm still going, drawing more circles, and I don't want it to be too crowded, so don't draw too much, but just draw enough around the edges, some in the title, and we're just gonna keep going. Oh, and a tip for drawing your circles, it's gonna take time. Just go back and forth between your white color pencil and your colored color pencil, and the more you work on it, the more it's gonna be smooth, or the transition between your darker areas and your highlight is going to be more and more smooth, and the smaller ones are easier. And now I'm adding a black border around it, and I'm not going over the spheres, so it looks like it's above. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my calendar page, but I'm drawing brackets for my post schedule, and I'm drawing little boxes for the weekdays, so I could color that in, and just like the normal calendar page, just draw your calendar. I did 5x5 squares, and I usually start on Monday and end on Sunday, which is quite unusual, maybe, if you guys do it. I'm not sure. And now I'm coloring in all the boxes or outlines that I have made so I can write the words on them with a white jelly roll. And it's gonna take some time. Keep coloring and touching up all the squares so they look sort of even. It's not perfect, but that's fine. And you can see my spatial writing letters for post schedule is totally off, but I will fix that. I don't know, that day was just not a good day for spatial lettering. So now I'm going in with my jelly roll, and a tip for the jelly roll is to glide over the page rather than press down over the page. And when you're doing your second layer, because it takes a couple layers to get it opaque, to just glide over or just hover over and let the ink flow onto the letter rather than pressing it down and possibly scratching the ink off. So now I'm adding a beautiful drop shadow. Who doesn't love a drop shadow? It makes it look extra fancy. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna erase before I put my decorations on because they are colored pencil. And as you can see, I'm fixing it, and my fixing did turn out better. Not way better, but it was a little bit better, because still looks kind of off-centered and a little squished, but we'll deal with it. It's fine. And if your letters get smudged a little, just go in with a black. And as you can see, I added the dots very quickly and added a border. Now I'm adding the numbers, and make sure to get it correct, because you don't want to fix that. And next page. So the next pages are the trackers, and the trackers are going to be really simple, super easy. Basically the same for both sides, just the top black box for the title and a border and some decorations around the edges. And this mood tracker setup is super simple because you don't need to draw anything extra. Just draw a border, a title, do some decorations around the edges, and put your key, and that's it. So my key is basically from lightest to darkest, from circles, and how it's going to work is that every day I'm just going to draw a sphere that corresponds to the key that I have made or drawn. So as you can see, I'm doing that from lightest to darkest, or darkest to lightest, and then working on that, fixing the spacing a little bit because it's kind of off again, and doing my U, my straight line, and my upside down U. And we're going to do the same thing for the sleep tracker, same routine. It's basically going to look kind of like, except for the center, we are going to add the L-shaped line and the 2 rows for my times. There you go. That was quick. Now we're going to add our decorations again. Quickly. And just as a note, for this spread, you could always do different colors. Like any spread I make, just choose different colors. Maybe pink, blue, purple, or red. And just pick different tones and shades to make it look very interesting. And I'm going to snap in my creativity page, because that's the usual. And let's get started on our weekly spreads. So the weekly spreads recently have been whole spreads, and I've been doing a lot of half-page spreads, even though it's a full week. So the usual things I like to do with a half page is kind of like a timeline sort of thing with these, and you just draw a straight line or boxes down the center, and then it's like a timeline alternating each side. And you can see my hand failing me for a couple seconds/minutes there, because that calligraphy is horrible. Very, very horrible. So now I'm trying to fix it with my Tombow, and it doesn't help that my Tombow is running out of ink slightly. Add your decorations and add a border. Now day 2 actually, because the sun was setting. So let's do this. So the next weekly spread is going to be very random, and as you can see that through the borders, just see that through the borders. I just drew different borders for every single box, and I love this design because it's just a whole bunch of random and looks like kind of like a picture frame or like a wall with different style designs on them. And on these pages you can actually test out which designs you like. Just put down a whole bunch of different styles and see which one you like. And I just filled in all of the borders that I've made, and now I'm going in with my white jelly roll and my pen to just make all the days, or write down all the weekdays, and I'm starting on my decoration. But before I do that, I'm gonna do my quote, which is strive for progress, not perfection. And I think this is actually pretty fitting for this week or month, because you're drawing a whole bunch of spheres, and your first spheres aren't gonna be as perfect as your last ones, because practice, 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 and then you'll get it. So now I'm just gonna add in a whole bunch of my decorations, and this decoration actually reminds me of those Aero bars, the airy chocolate, the mint ones, which I've never tried before, but it just reminds me of the look of them. So there you go. Now I'm gonna finish off this page with my last sphere, the final one, the final stretch. Then I'm gonna touch up the border. Now I'm gonna do my final outline, and that says that we're almost done. And I think the outline adds a nice touch to border everything, conceal everything, and let's just clean up a little bit and get to the final spread. Flip back to the beginning, and here you go. This spread is super simple, super minimalistic, and I hope you like this video. It's very quick paced, but I hope you like it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!